Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be continuing the video series of building my dream studio. We're going to be focusing on my desk setup here and everything I did to get it up and running. If you need some motivation and inspiration for your setup, or you want to learn from my mistakes, keep watching this video. Now, if you are new to my channel, I just want to say thank you for being here. It means a lot to me that you clicked on this video, and hopefully you keep watching and following me along with this journey. I do recommend that you watch the part 1 of this video series so that we can catch up on what's been going on here in my studio. I will put that link up here, or you can find it in the description. All right, so let's jump right into this. The first step of the entire process was enlisting some helpers to help me move the furniture in here and get everything kind of set up, at least temporarily, where I can work and do things. Luckily enough, I'm able to repurpose all the furniture I had from my old setup, and I didn't really need to buy anything new. The IKEA Alex drawers are still in great condition, and my desktop, that is a solid wood piece that will last a lifetime. Once I had everything temporarily in place, I had my desktop flipped upside down so I can work on the cable tray and the LED light strip. I already had a small, thin cable tray underneath, but it was a headache from the beginning, and it doesn't hold many cables. I ripped it off, and I'm replacing it with a much larger, pretty much a double-sized cable tray so I can have more space to work with. Now, one thing I do regret when I originally set up those cable trays is using the adhesive glue to put them on the underside of the desk. That adhesive is really strong and hard to get off. I would have to use some really strong chemicals to get it off the wood. To be honest with you, it's a lot of work to do that. I'm just gonna lay the other larger cable tray right on top of it, but this time I'm gonna screw it in. I measured out how many pieces I would need and just lined it up as best as I could, but I didn't screw them in just yet. I wanted to wait until the desktop was in its final spot before I did that. Once I finished that, I moved on to the LED lights. I have a channel diffuser that sits right in front of the cable tray. I had some really old Govee LED light strips on there already, so I just ripped those off. I bought a new pair of RGBIC Govee light strips, and I just laid those right in the channel. And I tested the LED lights just to make sure everything was working before I flipped over the desk and put it in its final spot. Now, these Govee LED light strips were part of my holiday picks for gifts. If you want to see that video where I go a little bit more into these, you can click on that link up here or down in the description. Once I was happy with all that, my wonderful girlfriend helped me flip this heavy desktop over in place. I measured a bunch of times so that way I can set it directly in the center of that back wall. Now, I will say I'm a little worried on the weight limit on the IKEA Alex drawers. My desktop that I have is a solid piece of wood. It weighs at least 150 pounds. I scoured the internet trying to find some official word on the weight limit of these Alex drawers. To no avail, I can't find anything that really says what's the weight capacity of these IKEA drawers. Now, I don't have any legs or any kind of supports that's holding up this desktop besides the Alex drawers. I'm praying that it can hold this weight and there's no issues, but so far so good. If anyone does know what the weight limit is on these IKEA Alex drawers, put some comments below, or someone stress test these, please, someone in the YouTube world. I'm sure there's a channel for that somewhere. I don't know. I think it would be a good experiment to find out. Now, on to the next was setting up the monitors. I got myself a little Christmas gift and picked up the MSI 32-inch Mag 321 UPX Quantum Dot OLED 4K gaming monitor. Whew. That was a mouthful. This thing is a beast, and I plan on fully reviewing it here in my channel, but for now I needed to focus on setting up my studio. Now, I'm going with a triple monitor setup, and the centerpiece is going to be that 4K monitor. The two left and right monitors are some older Acer Nitros that I have that are just 1440p. They still work great, so I'm just repurposing them. Now, setting up that 4K center monitor was probably the easiest. I already had a bracket, and it's not going to be moving up or down. It's only going to be able to move in or out. Measured everything 2-3 times to make sure it was directly in the center of that plywood and wall. Now, the left and right monitors are a little bit different because I'm using a fully articulating arm that can go up, down, left, right, and rotation, all that fun stuff. This way I can make micro adjustments and fully move them to keep everything even and maintain that symmetry. Setting up the left and right monitors was a little bit of trial and error. The only way I could really know how these monitors were going to look was to screw it into place and just go from there. After moving them once or twice, I finally landed on the perfect spot, and it's even on both sides of the top and bottom of the center monitor. I think it worked out great, and I can always make some changes later on in the future. I quickly want to say, if you're enjoying this video, go ahead and smash that like button, put some comments below. It really does help out the algorithm and getting my channel more exposure to other viewers. And please consider subscribing for more future content. All right, so now the fun starts, and I need to start connecting everything and cable managing, which is probably the bane of my existence, not my strongest skill, but anyway, I'm gonna try my best. So the first thing I did was pick up a bunch of right angle cables for the display port and power cord. This way I can keep keep all the cables as hidden as possible behind the monitors. If you use a straight cable, you'll most likely see the cable sticking out. Once I had all the cables, it was just a matter of connecting each one, using Velcro straps, a lot of up and down, back and forth, and finding the correct routes to run everything. Now the plan was to route all the power cables to the right hand side of my desk. I have an outlet on that side, and I wanted to put a power strip underneath but hide it within a cable tray box. In my head, this is a great plan, and I thought it was going to be super simple. Man, was I wrong, and you'll see why. So to do this, I purchased the VIVO underneath cable management tray. It's a great cable management tray, and it's all metal, and it's really meant for standing desk and like hiding things behind somewhere, but you can still access it when you need it. I did need to modify the tray to fit my desk because I have that channel diffuser where the LED strip lives, and there's only 2 to 2.5 inches of space underneath there. The end goal was to have a power strip sitting in that tray, have everything plugged in nice and neat, and then put some Velcro straps on the top of the tray and stick it underneath. That way I can always access it and take it down when I need it. But however, this is where things went wrong, and I started to notice all the problems. My first mistake was buying this really small power strip that had outlets on 3 different sides. That wasn't going to work because the cable tray is so narrow and you can only fit cables coming in from the top. So I ended up ditching that and buying this ECHOGEAR surge protector. The cool thing about this surge protector is you can rotate the outlets in different positions, so that way you can fit different types of cables. Once I got this surge protector, I thought it was going to be smooth sailing and easy peasy from here on out. So come to find out, the power cords that I bought for all the monitors were both 90-degree angles on both ends. Once again, I hit another obstacle because I can't have all the cables laying in the same direction all the way across the power strip. This cable tray is so narrow, and it's going to be butted up against the acoustic panels, and there's no room for any cables to go in the back of it. So I wasn't about to return and replace all those right angle cables. What I ended up doing was buying these small 6-inch straight female power cords. Essentially, it just allows me to plug in the right angle to make it into a straight cable. This is not the best way to do this, and I don't recommend this at all, but I wanted to get everything connected and at least tucked away to a single spot for the time being. I ended up getting everything in there, but it's a little sloppy. The tray is kind of hanging at an angle, and a little bit of the power strip is sticking out. Not my best work. I'm definitely gonna have to revisit this and maybe come up with something else, or 3D print some kind of cable tray that I can fit that specific area. Finally, I had everything connected and somewhat cable managed, and it was time to start putting on the final touches. I picked up this really nice mouse pad that I think matches perfectly with my setup. This is a Hystar XXXL mouse pad. They're a little bit pricey, but they have a wide range of illustrations and designs, and it's nice and thick, super smooth. I'm very happy the way it turned out. And I also picked up these Govee lamps and put them on each end of the desk. And now here is the final result of all my hard work. Now, one thing I did fudge up installing the acoustic panels and plywood. I made the plywood a little bit too large and too high up. You can't see the plywood when you're sitting directly in front of the desk. But if you do start to peek over or look at an angle, you will see the entire piece of plywood. However, nobody's looking back there except myself. Who knows, maybe that gives me a little more room to add something in the future. I'm very happy with the way it turned out, even with all the mistakes that I made. I'm always learning, always trying to evolve and do better. You let me know what you think about how things turned out. Art, that's going to be part 2 of this video series and building my dream studio. If you're interested in any of the products that I talked about in this video, you'll find the links in the description. Just remember, if you do decide to purchase any of these products using my affiliated link, it does help support the channel at no cost to you. Don't forget to subscribe and keep following me, because I have one more video in this series where I'm going to put the final finishing touches on my studio. I'm out of here, everybody, and I'll see you in the next one.